Good. I'm doing all right. Listen, this is a Friday afternoon, and I just wanted to talk about a little bit about some politics, if I can. Maybe Friday will be politic day, since we got just a few more days before the election happens, and I want you all to be very keen in your information on what's getting ready to happen in our lives. This is the most consequential election in recent history, at least modern history, and I wanted to see if I can continue to be fair and balanced. Let's see y'all in about 60.
You're good. You're good. You're good. Don't stop it.
Bass.
It's the show that will get you thinking, and where the topics are hot. Feel free to comment whether we agree or not, 'cause he's got something to say.
Sirwalterj. Sirwalterj.
He's got something to say. Sirwalterj.
Sirwalterj.
Report live 7 days a week, always on time, but this time is not free. So Walter Jones, always on fleek. Latest trending topics had you jumping out your seat.
He's got something to say.
Come on in. The water's fine.
Hello, everybody. Sirwalterj Jones Show. I'm here. It is the midday connection. Baby. Come on in, water's fine. Listen, y'all, I'm having my tea and crumpets. I'm trying to finish some schoolwork, and there's so much going on. You haven't seen me in a few days. That's why. It is the fall month, and a lot of that's the busiest time of the month for those of us who are clergy and part of certain types of denominations. It is that time where a whole bunch of annual things going on, conventions and raising monies and all kind of stuff, and so it gets busy. And for us, Kamala Harris, a name in whom we tend to stumble with, and I don't get involved with people who stumble over her name, Kamala or Kamala. I've said it right, I've said it wrong. And those who would, if you look at some of the YouTube channels of the people who support the Democratic Party, or mostly, support anything the Democratic Party do, and what they do, they'll go after somebody who quotes or who says her name wrong, and I think that is an unfair thing because Kamala, it was difficult for us to say her name until we got used to saying it. Barack Hussein Obama was a funny name. Good to see all of you. Shah, Beatrice, Monkey Moves, AJ, a whole bunch of y'all here. Good to see you. Yes, this is live. Tina, Sam, Williams, and Cheryl. A lot of y'all. Barack Hussein Obama, we never said his middle name. The only people who said his middle name were those who were against him. It was those who were attacking him and trying to figure out, mostly Trump was trying to figure out where he was born, basically because he was black. And they didn't want him. But his name was funny. He was a senator here. He was just a guy here. He was a community worker, which he was laughed at for being a community worker going door to door. You know who laughed at him? It was the former president of New York, mayor of New York, who jumped on the Trump train, and now he lost everything. He lost everything. He was sued. He lost his law license, and on and on. He was the 911 mayor. Now he's a piece of nothing. But I remember the Republican convention one year when Obama was running in 2008, and they laughed at him because he was a community worker. He knocked on my doors. He knocked on many of my friends' doors. He president of the law review, Harvard. I mean, come on, he was something that was unusual as a black man. He decided to, forego making a whole lot of money to go into, helping his community in Chicago. And he did that, and then he decided to run for senator, and he did that, and he became the senator. He had a funny name, but he was just a guy that you saw on the street, like a Kanye West and even Oprah Winfrey, before they became famous. They were people we just saw on the street, or R. Kelly or Robert, who was in my home. They were just people. that you would walk into a McDonald's and those same people were in McDonald's eating with us and whatever. They were just normal people. And so they would talk about his name, and we did too. Kamala name is funny, weird, strange. And the people who are saying, don't say her name right, say her name right, I think it's petty. Petticoat Junction. It's petty. But out of respect, we need to learn her name. Just like saying President Obama in 2008, you said to yourself, that's going to sound weird. That's going to sound strange to say President Obama. That's weird. And then now, it is commonplace to say President Obama. It sounds weird to say President Kamala Harris. Sounds strange today. But if she becomes the president, then her name will be just a household name. It will roll off your tongue, and it won't sound so weird. And this is the human frailty of words and phraseologies and linguistic studies. We hear these words for the first time. It sounds weird until it does not. I have been studying Kamala all since the time that she decided to do a coup and fire Biden, right? She was someone who was not elected, was not a nominee. She didn't win a primary or anything like that. So people on the right are going after her because it's unfair that she can just step to this position. This is not new in American history. I need y'all to know that. What was happening with Kamala is a little different for you who are young, millennials and Gen Zs and what have you. Maybe you are younger Gen Xers. But as you go back in history, under the administration of Richard Nixon had a vice president who was crooked. And that vice president was taking bribes, and he decided to do a plea deal, and he decided to go ahead and resign from his office, and he did do that. And President Nixon decided to find another vice president. Well, it was right on time because just a few years prior to that, there was no 25th Amendment. And if you want to hide in politics, you become the vice president. It just was an office that only did two things for you. Number one, you were the successor of the president just in case he was incapacitated. And number two, you were the president of the Senate. You broke ties. All right, as far as votes is concerned, you broke the tie. That's the only job you had. You couldn't. It was just that. So President Richard Nixon decided to choose Gerald Ford, who was really a small congressman who was just a little humble, middle-class man, and he just did his thing, and he was quiet. And he chose him because he was a quiet man, and he was well-trusted. He became the vice president, and just a few days later, in a sense, Richard Nixon was up for impeachment, and then he resigns. But before he resigns, the vice president, Gerald Ford, was not elected as a vice president. He had to go through a hearing from Congress. He had to go through a hearing like a Supreme Court justice would have to become a vice president. This is unusual. So then he wins the hearing. He becomes the vice president. Richard Nixon resigns. And then Gerald Ford becomes the president of the United States, not elected. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Not elected. And then he gets in office and he pardons the president of the United States. It is a crazy history. So the vice president who was not elected, didn't win a primary, he becomes president, not elected as president. He got in there because one man resigned. So he was just lucky all around. So Kamala's situation is not unusual in that aspect, but it is unusual for a black woman who has both black and Asian genes in her, to be nominated as the party's, head for that seat is very unusual. Now, as you go back to California and her work as a prosecutor, there was a lot of information and a lot of information as well, as she was an attacker to black men, putting more black men in prisons or what have you, and because of drug issues and what have you. What I have learned, and this is the reason why I'm going live with this show here, and I'm going to try not to be long because I do have a barber appointment, is this. I have learned to forgive people because I want people to forgive me. Even in politics, Bill Clinton was not for black people. He played his saxophone. He traveled to black churches, especially in the South. He came to the Church of God in Christ convention. Bishop Ford at the time heralded him as a great man. All right. We called him the first black president. I guess because we just gave up on a real black person. And he got in office and he began to do things that was against you, especially if you had a son that was into some stuff, especially drugs, so he committed crimes. And Clinton was the one who was putting those cats away. But he was doing some stuff because he was trying to be in the middle. He was trying to be, he was a Democratic man, but he was trying to win the hearts of the Republicans. All right. And it is a strategy that Abraham Lincoln used. There's a book I just ordered and I'm going to talk about it next week. And he tried to be in the middle and he succeeded, and which is one reason why he was able to pass certain bills got through, because he was in the middle. And that being in the middle hurt many of your children or hurt you. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so I forgave him. The whole Monica Lewinsky thing. I forgave him for that. I forgave George Bush for all of the things that he said and did. I look at these men after the fact, and I look at how they were. Thank you for bringing them Haiti, Princess Di. Yeah, especially Haiti. America has kept Haiti poor. America is part responsible for the Haitian people being in the state that they're in. And if it wasn't for Haiti, we wouldn't have doubled the United States population because of Louisiana Purchase. It's because of Haiti, who beat the hell out of the French, is why we double in size. All right? Then we'll go down there in 90, 91 or somewhere around there. When was that? And act a fool and try to put up a puppet leader there. America got so much blood on his hands. And so typically when a man is in office, they do some crazy, strange things, and then we go through it. And then when they're done with after they leave, they try to do some good things. Who is a perfect example? Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter is 100 years old as of last week. He has become my favorite president. While he was president, he did some things that hurt us. He did. And if you really listen, or if you really pay close attention to the history of our president, he's very much loved today, but he wasn't loved in the 70s. He served only one term. Ronald Reagan swooped in and just buried him. But what Carter did was something that no president in American history has ever done. He did the reverse of the Barack Obama. He became a community man. If I don't drink this, it'll be too cold. Habitat for Humanity. He built more homes than any politician that I know. He taught Sunday school up until he couldn't speak. He and his wife gave their life and their monies, inspired many of us to do the same thing. But as a president, he made gaffes and Freudian slips and policies and executive decisions that didn't benefit you. He did some good things, but if you look at history, it doesn't sit too great. Men like those I forgive. Barack Obama was you all's champion, the great black hope. But you can't think of anything that he really did to help you. You can't really think of anything that he did to help you. He gave us hope. Keep hope alive, or change you can believe in, and all these wonderful phrases and words. He got in there and he realized that he was in a bubble. And that even his BlackBerry, he had to give it away. And he got in there and he realized what true politics was. And because of Mitch McConnell and the pressure from the Republican right, who had the Senate at the time, he couldn't do anything. All right. And so they had to compromise because they were in a bubble. They was a part of a gang. Lyle is saying here, we're saying Clinton and Obama both had to compromise a lot. Yep, during their times as presidency because of the conservatives in the Senate. See, while I'm talking, Lyle is typing. Jimmy Carter is an example of what happens when you don't give in to the conservatives. Yep, his own party betrayed him because of his moral character. Lyle, that is true. And the conservatives voted for Carter because he was a Baptist, minister. Well, he was a Christian. But Reagan got most of the conservative right vote of the evangelicals, more so than Carter. Reagan was exactly like Trump today. They were non-Christian. They just piled up with the Christians to get the vote. Carter was a Christian. He was a Bible teacher, but they turned on him. And it's really like Biden. Biden is a Catholic man, goes to Catholic mass on and on, but because he is a part of a particular Democratic Party, the evangelicals don't like him. They like a man who has piled up with the evangelicals, but is not an evangelical. I talk about him Monday. That's Trump, because people wonder, okay, are you really fair and balanced? Yeah, I talk about both of them. Every time I bring up politics, I talk about both parties in the negative and the positive. Carter was a deacon, Joyce. Thank you. Okay, so a lot of these men, I forgive them. I forgive them. Ronald Reagan was a racist. I will say that he was. I don't care what nobody say. I liked his character. I liked the way he talked. I liked how he was able to pull people into his space and get them to do things that he needed them to do. I actually like that about a man. I don't care. I wouldn't say I don't care, but I care, but I don't care. If a man is a racist, but I need him to do things for my people, whether you're a racist or not, still do something for my people. Why? Because you all have quoted from the scriptures that the wealth of the wicked, wait a minute, they're wicked. So we need to leave them alone. We need to segregate ourselves from them, and we need to let them be. No, the wealth of the wicked is stored up for the just. Jesus says, make friends with mammon. You should have unsaved friends, not friends where y'all are kicking it and chilling and going out to the bars and going to the crack houses or whatever y'all do, whatever. No, you should become associates, when you use the word friends, with these people, because how can you show, number one, the love of God if you are segregated from them? Number two, how can the wealth of the wicked be stored up for you if you're not a part or sitting at the table? Do you understand? So I have many associates and friends who are unsaved and atheists so that I can benefit from their wealth, and so they can benefit from my spiritual wealth. Do you understand? So, what's his name? In the 60s, who gave us the Civil Rights Bill and the Voting Rights Bill and all these things, he really was not all about African Americans. No, he did something because he did it was a political move. Johnson, it was a political move what he did. There was some heart there because he was a teacher. He taught Mexican children down in the South. But he knew he had to do something to keep the party together, and this is what the Abraham Lincoln situation was. Abraham Lincoln, being a Republican man who was supposed to be on the abolitionist side, but the Republicans were not abolitionists. There was abolitionists and there was Republicans. They were two sects, but sometimes they meshed into one another. You understand? Which is kind of funny because there are a whole bunch of evangelicals who are Democrats. I don't understand why y'all call that the Republican, the conservative right or the evangelical people, but we are evangelicals and we make up the largest portion of the Democratic Party are black and female and the church. So it's weird that the Democratic Party is not regulated or identified as being Christians. The right is. And when you identify the right as being Christians, you also identify racism in the right. Isn't that something? Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. He was the first president. He was the nominee for the first time. There was no Republican Party. There was the Whig Party who broke up. It became, they didn't become, but the Republican Party became, and then they selected Abraham Lincoln to be their guy. And then he's in office now. And what he did was he brought in the guys who was against him on the other side, who was upset that he won. It was 3 guys. I bring them next week. And then he brought them into his cabinet so that he could be fair and balanced, unlike Fox News. So, but he was not an abolitionist. He was someone who was against slavery to keep the Union. But he was for slavery to keep the Union. Anybody understanding what I'm saying here? Is my history bothering you all? Is my history bothering you all? Because I don't like you know what I don't like? I don't like dumb Christians. I don't like dumb Christians. Carter also taught Sunday school in his local church. Yes, until his. You're right. I said that earlier, Joyce. I don't know when you came in. All right, I just don't like dumb Christians. I really don't. I don't like dumb Christians. I don't understand dumb Christians. It's an oxymoronic statement to say you are Christian and dumb. Come on, Marcel. History gives context. I don't understand dumb Christians. I just don't. Why do you think Trump will not commercialize on Harris' policies on the mass incarceration of the black men? The receipts are there. Why? I don't understand Marsha. I don't understand your question. Why do you think Trump will not commercialize on? Can you ask it a different way so I can really understand? The dumbs are the lies. Tanya Bivens. That's it. All right. Now, I'm still talking about Kamala. I'm still talking about her, but I got to give y'all the history because there's some people who are very impatient when they come over here. And they want me to get to the point. This show ain't for you. Peggy said, "If we really want to know, this show ain't for you." Okay. Now, so I brought up Reagan, Carter, Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump. I'll talk about Trump Monday because I want to ask the question about Trump is Trump really a racist? Is he a racist? I'm going to answer that on Monday. Now let's talk about Biden. I'm very forgiving of men and women. Biden was against you. It goes all the way back. There is a black man who was a Supreme Court justice. Y'all know his name? And do y'all remember the hearings when those senators was questioning him because of a woman who said that he was making sexual advances at her? And you remember the hair on the Coke? Not Marshall. What What's his name, you all? Remember that? Biden was a part of that hearing. Thank you, Drea. Clarence, Uncle Clarence, and Anita Hill. And it was during that time where, especially if you was a woman, Hill was buried by those white men because she was a woman. I know y'all saying Thurgood Marshall, but he ain't. He dead. I'm talking right now. And I don't know who Clarence Washington is. Okay, his name is Clarence Thomas. And back then, you can be a sexist and get away with it. But Biden buried her. He should have never became a justice. Clarence, never. Right? He buried her. And then he went after you. You who got the same skin color as I do. That same Biden went after y'all heavy. All right? Biden was selected as the vice president for Barack Obama. He's now the president. And what he started to do was make some changes. Brentic says Biden has admitted he was wrong for those. Yep. Here's where I'm going, Brentic. You and my grits. The whole premise of me saying this is to lead up to Kamala. I forgive men. Biden did some horrible things against your family. He became president and he began to reverse a lot of those things and to act by showing that he was sorry for the things that he did. And it was surprising that he selected Kamala Harris as his vice president. Because when they were running against one another, there was a moment when they talked about busing and desegregation. Do y'all remember that? And Kamala Harris turned to him and said, yeah, but you was responsible for, and he looked at her in shock. Do y'all remember that? And that was the moment that kept being played in all of the news medias, that moment right there between the two of them. And when he was the nominee, he says, that's the woman I need. No, it's not so much that's the woman I need, that's the person I need, but he decided that I need a woman. Y'all remember that? Every commercial is on politics, true. Don't worry, it'll be over in a minute, Marsha. Harris slams Trump all the time. So does Trump. Yet I haven't seen one commercial on Harris policies when she was a prosecutor and how she was called Miss Lock a Brother Up. Yeah, well, you're not going to see that because her as a prosecutor in California means nothing to the American people. Her being the vice president since 2020 is more important, not something that she did in California. You understand? And so notice that whenever the conservative right bring up anything about her, they don't bring up California. They bring up the border. They bring up abortion. Do you understand? They bring up IVFs. But they don't bring up California. They could care less about that. He decided he needed a black woman. That's right, Joyce. And he got her. It got him elected. And then he knew that he needed to switch some things on the Supreme Court. He knew he needed to do this, do that, because he knew who got him in that office. It's politics. Yeah, Tanya Bivens, yes. The lies about her record in California has been debunked. I'm forgiving. I'm very forgiving towards people who make a change We tend to kill people for what they did in the past. This is the one reason why I'm bringing this up. George Wallace apologized too. He sure did. He ended up getting most of the black. Yep, George Wallace apologized too. There were some racists in the Senate that apologized. Who was that racist who was a KKK guy, but then he eventually apologized for being associated with that? I think he did now. What is his name? The senator, old man. Sherrod says, Marsha, it's clear that you really haven't done your research, because if you go to her page, you will see nothing but politics. Yes. Yeah. So this is where I want to go with Kamala. All right. This is where I want to go with Kamala. So confession, I've been watching Candace Owens' series on Kamala family, and I didn't know how to feel about her leaning on her Jamaican heritage. That's not really Jamaican. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. Anyone who doesn't know her policy by now is being willfully ignorant. That's true. She's prosecuted 46 people in California, all with different backgrounds and colors. That's true. Yeah. I did my research, you all. I did my research, and I am forgiving for some of the things that politicians did before they became who they are today. All right. Now, Kamala Harris, and I'm going to try to be as I got 15 minutes, 10 minutes, sir. I'm going to try to be as honest as possible. Kamala Harris started off very rough when Biden dropped out. We got nervous because of her inability to really express herself. All right? Something happened to that girl. Mm-hmm. Something happened to her. I'm still confused on your topic. Tomorrow is Trump racist. My topic Monday is Trump racist. How can I do this? Like I do every show, Gloria Graham. I talk about everything. I talk about stuff that you all think about, but you don't have a platform to talk about it, so I talk about it. Is he a racist? Can I not talk about that? Kamala Harris studied, and I have to now go back to her being a senator and listening to how she was talking in the Supreme Court justice hearings, and I realized how intelligent she was during the hearings. We look at some of the gaffes and some of the pregnant pauses and some of the diversions and some of the deflectings that she did and that she still do today. All politicians do it. All of them do it. But what I've noticed was how I was focused on looking for a mistake. I was focused on looking for a mistake like you all are. We all are focused on looking for a gaffe from someone we're not sure about. That's the way we are. And we saw the intelligence, whether you like her or not, whether you will vote for her or not. We saw the intelligence from her during the debate. We saw it. Number two, we finally heard her policies. We did. So I'm with the whoever said it earlier. For anybody who don't know her policies, you're living under a rock. You don't want to know her policies. Based off of my earlier statement, you're looking for problems. You understand? And this is not a show on a vote for Kamala, because guess what, y'all? After all I said, I'm still ain't voting for her. She's not my pick. I have every right. She's not my pick. Y'all already know that. So if I stop the show right here and move on with my life, many of the people who don't know me will say, well, then Trump must be your pick. That's the problem with humans. That a no for one is an automatic yes for the other. And that has been the problem with the American people since the dawn of time. Now, Game says, with you wholeheartedly, I disagree. Kamala is inept on the highest level. We need someone to hit the ground running, and she ain't it. That is your opinion. But that is a bold statement, but there needs to be some proof in her ineptness. And when people talk about her or anybody else like that, you have to wonder where your agenda is. Where is your agenda when you speak so heavily against someone? You have an agenda. Number two, if you say she has no policy, you are ignoring her policies. Totally ignoring it. Number three, I cannot go against what you're saying and push you into the Trump camp automatically without you giving me some hints that you a Trumper. See, going against her, anybody else will say you must be on Trump's side. That's not me. I give everybody the benefit of the doubt until you tell me it's all about Trump. But I'm doing Trump show on Monday. Trump has no policies. None. And how do we know? Because every time we see him debate, he can't answer one question without going way over here. That has been his mantra, and all his friends who've known him for 40, 50 years say the same thing. He's always been that guy. He pulled you in with a strong handshake, and it goes way over here. You understand? So for people who are going against Kamala, saying she has no policy, never went to her website, and turns off anything she says about policy, you turn it off. Number three, Kamala went into the lion's den, what they call it, Fox News the other day, and Brett decided to talk to an audience of one, Donald Trump. That's what he had to do. But see, Brett used to be the guy that was fair and balanced, like Chris Wallace. Chris Wallace was the only real news on Fox News. Fox News got sued by the voting machines. Y'all know how much money that they lost. They had to write that check. And here's the thing. The lawyers of Fox News said that, now listen very close to this. Joyce, do your job. Listen very close to this. The lawyers of Fox News said that Fox News is not a news organization. It is entertainment. They basically call Fox News the Inquirer. Do you understand? That was their defense. Yet, more people watch Fox News for news than any news organization in America. And Fox News is telling you, we are not a news organization. So Harris decides to go on Fox News, but she couldn't talk to nobody else. She had to talk to Brett because Brett sounds like he is fair and balanced in news. And why? Because when Trump and Biden was running, and the night that it was announced that Biden won, it was Brett who announced that he had won the presidency. He had won, what state was that? It was Brett who did it. And they went after Brett for that. Donald Trump went after Brett for that. And Brett, in an email, said, ooh, I got to pull this back. We've got to do something about this. We made a mistake. Because they are an organization for Trump. Guess what? Just like MSNBC is an organization for the Democratic Party. Y'all, I can be fair and balanced. So people ask, why did Kamala go on Fox News? because she needed a second debate. Y'all missed that. Y'all missed it. Y'all always missing stuff. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? Nobody in the news is talking about that. They're wondering why she went on in the Fox News, blah, blah, blah. She went on there because she needed a second debate. Trump wouldn't give her one. So she went straight to his people, his audience, who never watched any other news but that one. It is the same analogy as the medical industry, as the what do you call drugs? The pharmaceutical companies. The pharmaceutical companies went directly to your doctor. They gave them cash. They gave them incentives. They gave them trips, exotic trips, what have you, so they can sell this drug to you. And something happened where then they allowed the pharmaceutical companies to go straight to you. And how do they do that? Through commercials. So our TVs got inundated with pharmaceutical companies saying, try this. And then at the end of the commercial, they have to say, seek your doctor for approval. And they've got to tell you the side effects. And if one person out of 1 million had a headache, they got to tell you, this may cause headache. If only one. This is what Kamala had to do. Those millions of people who only watch Fox never really heard the fair balance that Fox News boasts on. They never heard it. So, and because Donald Trump would not give her a second, she had to go to Fox News for a second debate. And not only did she win the first one, she won the second one. Why? Because Bear, whatever his name is, Brett, made a mistake. He played a clip, and she nailed him on that clip. If it wasn't for that, it would have been an okay interview. But she nailed him. She nailed him. This shows her ability to learn. This shows her ability to hunker down and study the opposition. Whether you think she's intelligent or not, she was intelligent enough to come back with those one-liners, two-liners, those little diatropes and all these other words you could think of, how she was able to overcome, even though you might not have heard anything substantive, nothing that will satisfy you, it sure satisfied that moment. So if you say she ignorant, I want to be that ignorant. And just because a man is a millionaire or a billionaire don't make him smart. You know how many dumb billionaires there are out there? What is the guy who bought Twitter and changed it to X, who's now supporting Trump? He is the wealthiest man, one, in the world. But yet, he's an idiot. he's an idiot, but he's a billionaire. Elon Musk is a billionaire, but he's an idiot. So being a billionaire don't make you smart. All right? And being someone like Kamala Harris gives you an opportunity to show the American people that you can. So I forgive folks. That's the whole point of me doing this. I forgive people for saying and doing certain things. Now, I can't vote. Why? My conscience. It's not a vote against Kamala Harris as much as it's a vote against the Democratic Party. Because I have the same reasons for staying away from a lot of the Republican of today, the party of today. The older party, I can deal with some of the stuff. The Republican Party today has grabbed the whole of the testicles of a man, and it has become a cult. And they are following a man in whom they have to feed through their breast milk. And I'm saddened to say it's unfortunate. Come on, stock up. It's a thin line between brilliance and crazy. Thin line. And there are some people who became millionaires and billionaires because they was there at the right time. Dumb as rocks, but they were there at the right time. Elisha wanted a double portion from Elijah. And guess how he got it? Elijah says, you must be right here when this happens. There are people who got in at the right time and they're wealthy today. Yet, they're dumb as rocks. Do you understand? There are men who do not want to vote for Kamala Harris because she's a woman. And especially pastors, clergy, Christian men who feel that a woman should never be in a position to usurp authority over a man. And I'm one of them who believe that a woman should never usurp authority over the man compared to the Bible. And then there's politics. And then there are women who are governors, who are mayors, who are senators, and who's over certain parts of your city that you don't have a problem with. But because she's going to become the president, you now have a problem. But you don't realize that it's really not about the presidency. It's really about the system of checks and balances still. Because during the midterm election, you won't vote. Yet the midterm election is more important than the presidency election, the midterm. But you won't do that. That is what runs your cities and your states. And that is what pulls on the coattail of the president, the midterm. Barack Obama, let's go back to him. Remember, he couldn't do nothing. You know why? Because the people who voted in the midterm put those men and women in office and they held him. He tried to get a Supreme Court justice replacement and he couldn't. Why? Because the midterm people were the ones who held it up. Do you understand? So y'all crying about this all every 4 years stuff, but you are not good stewards. This tells me that the people who only cry every 4 years, you're probably living in poverty. Mental poverty. You might be making six figures, but you still broke. You living in mental and spiritual poverty because the only time you come outside to play is every 4 years. So I give a hand clap to Kamala Harris for her ability to talk to men who are sexists. All right, who look down to her and call her an angry black woman. I don't care what y'all say about, Candace Owens, and I don't care what y'all say about what Trump said that she became black all of a sudden. I don't care what y'all say about all that stuff. But what typically what these men are seeing is an angry black woman. And they saw that on Fox News when he played the wrong clip and she went after him, raised her voice just a little bit, and then she was done raising her voice. And all of the ones on Fox News called her an angry black woman in their own way. It was a dog whistle. I heard it. A whole bunch of red herrings was going on. That's what she's up against more so if she becomes the president of the United States. All right. So my hat go off to her if I had one. I applaud her for standing up for you, especially you women. I applaud her for standing up for the underdog. All right. I wish that she was saved. I don't care if she was raised in the black church. I could care less on all that stuff. I wish that she was saved. I wish that the Democratic Party was just a little bit more caring about the unborn. I really do. That whole gay thing, listen, I stopped fighting y'all over that stuff. But something as cruel as killing babies, there is no ambiguity there. You're still a murder. And so now we've got to figure out, is voting for her a sin? Well, I want to play a video next week on on the phases of sins and what do you determine what you should do? What should I do? Am I sinning because I vote for the Democrat because of the baby killing? Or am I sinning because I voted for the Republican who is a whole lot of stuff that we'll talk about on Monday? Huh? I want to be fair and balanced today and let y'all know that a vote against her is not a vote for Donald Trump. I'll talk about why I'm not going to vote for Donald Trump come Monday. But today, I thank God that Kamala has freed a lot of you all and given you all some ammunition to be able to know how to go toe-to-toe with people who go against you. All right? And she's going to keep getting better at what she does. Yeah. Whether I vote for her or not, it don't matter to you. I'm just telling y'all, I have every right to my opinions and my facts. Now, you all take this and go home. You might be at home right now, and you discuss it with your families, what you going to do. But I discuss this with my children. This is how I vote. You discuss with your children how you going to vote and why. Don't just tell them you're going. Tell them why you are going to vote the way you do. And when those people get in office, then you do whatever you can to help keep them straight. Don't just support everything they do because they're in office, but you help to keep them straight. Okay? Zachary says American citizens should vote on policy and should not be shamed on whoever they vote for. Zachary Smith. Policy is right. Because policy is going to make you or break you. Whether it's about your taxes or education or whether it's about world affairs, policy is important. And some of you are voting for people because of one thing, one. And on the right, it might be border control or patrol, all right? And they don't care about any of these other things. This is why many of them saying that she has no policy. You know why they say she has no policy? Because they are looking at what she did at the border. But they're not even hearing anything about the finance, about world affairs, about small business, about stuff going on in your life that you really care about. No, you got caught up in the hype. That's what that is. One thing, the hype. And then there's Jerusalem or Israel. And you missed all these other things. So you push one man in office and then all these other things that you ignore, it's going to affect you. Dumb Christians are the worst. All right. Hollis says, thank you, brother, for putting this political season into perspective. Most pastors won't even touch the subject, yes, leaving their parishioners in a state of confusion. That's true, Hollis. Yeah, I wish the pastors would at least bring it up. There was one man, A. Williams or something like that, who's very popular right now on YouTube because he talks about this stuff. He's a Trumpster, you can tell. And he called it a Bible study. He spent an hour and a half in a Bible study talking about politics and never brought up the Bible. That's one thing I have against his brother, Pastor Williams. And I hope he's watching right now. Pastor Williams, get back to preaching the Bible because you have decided to, because you went viral, now every time we see you on YouTube, you talk about politics. And the people in your church is starving spiritually. Please don't be that guy. All right? I'm going to talk to Patrick Wooten too, Bishop Patrick Wooten, who's running for the 12 men in the Church of God in Christ. There's clips from him always talking about, controversial stuff. Well, I talk about controversial stuff a lot. But what we need to do is find out if he's, I believe he's preaching the word of God. It's just that we're not privy to those clips. We're not privy to those clips. So he is controversial and he gets more views because he talks about stuff that a pastor shouldn't be talking about. They would say a pastor should talk about everything because the people in that church is dealing with everything. But if he's only talking about politics, then that's a problem. If Patrick Wooten is only talking about politics, that's a problem. But I know he's not. we are only just getting the clips about politics or about some popular R&B artist, something like that. So we are misjudging him, I believe. We're misjudging him. But that Williams, Pastor Williams, that's all he's been talking about. And you're hurting your church. I got to go, y'all. Take care of yourselves and one another. I do love y'all, okay? And I don't care who you vote for. I just hope you vote your conscience. And I'm hoping that you are informed and stay away from this misinformation. Stop watching only one news source. You need to watch as many as possible to get all of it. But go to their websites, all right? Go to the websites of Donald Trump and go to the websites of Kamala and look at their policy. And then that will help you understand. If you're an undecided voter today, how in the world are you undecided still? Who are you? I want to meet you. I want to have a beer fest with you. You drink the beer and I drink Coca-Cola. And now I drink Canada Dry. She won't do anything just for the black people, but we'll do things just for the other groups. Yet Warren's wants your vote. Black Chicago have migrant dumped. And, okay, they can't get it. Yeah. A whole lot of stuff going on there, Sister B. I'll talk about this stuff. Kamala Harris refused to answer the serious questions, Sister B. No, she answers serious questions. She does. She's probably not answering the question that you want answered. All right? I try not to be the guy who say, but what about the other guy? No, let's stick with Kamala. Today's Kamala's show. All right? She has answered many of the serious questions. She has answered them. Sometimes she won't answer it on today, and then she'll wait and answer it next time. For instance, they asked her a question. Would you do anything different that your boss did? She couldn't answer that. But when she went over to Fox News, she finally answered it. Maybe y'all didn't watch the Fox News, so you don't think she answered it, but she did. You see, you can't look at one news source and think she didn't answer a question when you don't go to her www.Kamala Harris, whatever it is, or you don't watch and follow her throughout the news cycle. So if you don't follow her throughout the news cycle, you'll say, she didn't answer that, or you'll say, Trump didn't answer that, and what have you. Follow, you all. Please do your diligence and follow. Be good Bereans. Be more noble than everybody else. And study these people. And stop saying what a person ain't doing if you don't see what they have finally did. This is why this show is important today when I said, I have forgiven Carter, Reagan. I'm still struggling with Reagan. Bush, Clinton, Barack Obama. I have forgiven these men because their latter years, they begin to show us that, they were in a bubble. They were caught up in the whole political sphere, and it is what it is. And they turn out to be a better men, although I still struggle with, Barack Obama, I still struggle with him. Trust me, I still struggle with him. All right. But Carter, thank God he's still alive. I thank God for the work that he did. He did more than all of them did. He went back into the neighborhoods and provided shelter for families. So he didn't just put it in his policies as president. He got out there and physically put nails in boards. What a great man. And his time is very, very limited. If he make it through the rest of the year, I'd be surprised if he make it through the new year. But guess what? He cast his vote the other day. Yesterday, I think it was. And Georgia is voting like crazy. They broke records. So if you all on a certain side of the political party, y'all better watch out for Georgia. Georgia is acting a fool. And it's putting fear in somebody that I'll talk about later on, okay? All right, so this is a consequential election. It ain't nothing to play with, you all. I get tired of the wandering generalities. I like meaningful specifics from the commentators. Me too, Dr. James Foster TV. Give me some specifics, okay? If I ask you, what color are you? Don't tell me, well, my grandfather voted for, Abraham Lincoln in 18. No, what color are you? Just give me an answer. Just give me one answer. Just one answer. What are you? And she was doing some of that. I will agree. And then she studied. Her advisor said, don't answer it this way. And then she went on Fox News and was able to answer it. And then she's getting better and better. Well, I applaud her. Great job, Kamala Harris. Even though I'm not going to vote for you, I had to be fair in today's show. Monday, I'm hoping to be fair on Donald Trump's show. Pray my strength in the Lord. All right, y'all, take care. My barber is upset because I got 10 minutes to get over there, and it's a 25-minute drive. I love y'all. Take care of yourselves and one another. See y'all on Patreon. Meanwhile, see y'all for Sunday school tomorrow night.
Fellas, does it seem like you can't get a good woman? Ladies, wonder why you can't keep a man? Then read The 4 Women That Men Desire, Volume 1, by Sirwalterj to figure out how to break the cycle. Go to Amazon.com to get your copy today.